This is a tabletop that I wrapped in Vivid's Tech R carbon fiber vinyl wrap. I'll show you how I did this in the video, so let's get started. The first thing you need to do before getting started with any vinyl wrap project is to ensure that the surface you're going to be putting the vinyl on is thoroughly cleaned. Here I am cleaning the surface of the tabletop as well as the edges with a mixture of isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol and water, as well as using a clean microfiber cloth. Once the surface and the edges are thoroughly cleaned, I then mocked up my piece of vinyl that I had already pre-cut before starting the video, and then double checked to see whereabouts where I want to place it to ensure that I have roughly even coverage all the way around. So I have some excess going off every side, except maybe towards the back. I don't need too much back there. Once I have decided about where I want to place that, I'm going to use my back slitter knife here to go ahead and create a slit in the back, so I can pull that strip of paper off, which I did off the right. If you don't have that, you can just peel back some of the paper and then cut that off. And then after I did that, I went ahead and just repositioned my vinyl, making sure that I have enough excess going off the edges so that I can cover the edges. And then I pulled out that strip of paper and then used my squeegee to anchor down the vinyl onto the table. This allows me to then be able to pull out the rest of the backing paper a little bit more easily. Now at this point I elected to go ahead and pull off the plastic protective cap on the vinyl. You don't have to at this point. I find that sometimes it makes it a little bit easier, although here in this flat application you don't necessarily need to. I then just peeled off the rest of the backing paper, and I apologize for my camera auto-focusing off and on. I totally forgot to lock the focus. And then what I did though was just started applying the squeegeeing the vinyl down onto the surface. I basically did the top half, as you can see me working left and right going towards the ball there, using a little bit of alcohol water spray on my squeegee on the surface to help it glide and reduce some scratching. Continue until you get the vinyl applied across the entire flat surface to the edges. And once you get the edges, I'll show you how we can wrap over the side edges here in the next segment. So to tackle the corners here, you can see that I have the point of the vinyl right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my utility knife, and where that point is, I'm going to cut basically straight out. So here's the 90-degree angle. I'm going to cut at a 45 to that angle right there. And I want to find the point because that's where I'm going to start my cut. I'll start right there in the point and cut out at the 45 angle. And what that did is essentially create two tabs that one can fold down and then under, or cut it off. The other one can fold down and under. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to take my wrap glove, and this is I'm going to use this to help me. Now, because this is the front of the table right here, and this is the side, what I'm going to have is I'm going to put this side down first, fold this under like that so that it will stay. It has enough surface area to hold this there on that area there. And this side is going to come over it. Now, the reason I put this side down first is because this little bit of vinyl that's under here could present like a little bulge under here on this end. So I want that not on the front of the table, on the side where typically people won't necessarily see it right away. You can place it however you want. That's just how I do it. Now, the wrap glove will help in trying to basically smoothing down your vinyl over the corner edges. And then you use a heat gun in this case to help out as well. And so, like I said, we'll start with this side here. So I'm going to go ahead and warm up my heat gun, and I'm going to warm up this area right here. Notice I'm not concentrating on just here. I'm getting kind of a whole area, at least a foot or foot and a half past where the corner is on this side, okay? Because I want it to heat evenly, and I want it to roll down evenly and smoothly, just like this. And I'm rolling on the top to make sure there's no air channels tucked up top, working my way down and making sure I'm rolling the vinyl directly onto the edge of the table here. And then I'm kind of working my way down onto this side to make sure there's no air channels right here. So basically just multiple passes, rolling this down like that. The wrap glove helps your finger glide over the vinyl nice and smoothly. Once you get over the side, you can just finish applying it to the rest of the edge of the table or desk or whatever you're wrapping at this moment. Okay, so now that that is all the way down and I have it pretty flat, about a good 6 to 8 inches this way, and I notice I have it kind of tapered this way. I don't have it walled off. Tapered out like this. And that's just so I can finish the rest of this because I'm showing you one corner up close. I typically will kind of do both. I'll cut the other side. I'll cut the other side as well and work this whole front side down as one piece, but I just want to show you this up close. Okay, so now that we have that all the way down, I want to make sure that it's smooth all the way to the edge right here. Okay, and kind of the same thing, I'm going to make sure it's smooth on this side. I'm going to start rolling it over, make sure it's fully applied onto the actual corner edge, and then make sure that it's applied on this edge really well. All right, and so just like that. And typically I'll just leave it like that. You can cut it off a little bit here to flatten it out and make this triangle not so big, but you want to leave some on here to help hold and anchor everything down. Okay, so now that that is fully applied, it's time to apply this side down over it. You could at this point also cut off this bottom if you wanted to. Not necessary, it's really up to you when you feel comfortable doing it. I'll do it now just for demonstration's sake. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm not going to cut it flat like this, like the side non-cutting part of my blade is going to go up against the table, but I'm not going to cut it flat like this. I'm going to actually tilt up like this, kind of at a 30 to 45 degree angle. And what that does is it cuts enough on a almost microscopic level up here, a hair, so that you don't have what's called a pick edge, where the vinyl will also slightly hang over the edge and then things can grab and pick that edge up. So if you hold your knife at a 45 to 30 to 45 degree angle, maybe more sharply, it technically cuts more up here a little bit on a very small scale. So I'm going to do that. I'm not blocking the camera too much. Cut like this. Make sure your blade's sharp. I haven't sharpened mine yet, or snapped off a new one, like that. And then on the same side, or opposite side, excuse me, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, cut at a 45 to 30 degree angle, like that. Okay, and that prevents what is known as a pick edge. All right, and so now that that is, I'm going to cut this away. Cut that away. Trim this up just a little bit better. It's awkward cutting at a weird angle just so I don't get in the way of the camera. Cut off that little bit right here. I don't know if you can see that. That's the pick edge. Again, you want to hold this up at a kind of a higher angle like that. So now there's no vinyl that can get picked up. All right, so do the same thing with the side here now. I'm going to warm this area up a little bit. And you'll see the vinyl start to fall down as it relaxes. Like that. And I'm going all the way to full length here since I want to lay down this whole side. You can kind of see it almost wrapped itself, but just by falling down and relaxing over the edge. But I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to cross the top. I'm going to press that down. Make a couple passes, make sure it's sealed really nice and tightly. And then go right on the edge of it. Get that sealed down nice and tightly. And then start on this side of it now. Make sure that's sealed nice and tight. The back, I'm not going to do the same because I'm going to trim that straight off. So I'm just going to, I'll fix that here in just a minute. Okay, but I'm going to go all the way eventually, but for the demonstration purposes here, I'm just doing the same process I did here. Now it's all the way down, so I'm just flattening it out. All right, and so here you have an option as well. You can, if you wanted to, you could wrap this over the side like that, and it doesn't look too bad because it kind of blends in and disappears with the patterning of this grain. This triangle kind of matches that actually, and that's actually pretty good because now you have a little bit over helping to anchor on the other side as well. Or you can cut it off, and you would cut it off basically right here at that angle there. So I'll show that for demonstration purposes. Let me snap a new blade. Okay, so basically you can fold it back and it helps form a line that your knife might follow. But what I like to do is I will just get in here like this, Okay, I'm going to do it the other way because that's awkward for me to cut it that way. And then I'm going to get my blade in there, and then I'm going to slide it down like that. That's why you have to have make sure you snap off a new blade on your knife so that it's as sharp as possible. That way the blade just slides right through. Let the knife do the work. You shouldn't have to do anything other than move the knife, because it should. If it's super sharp, especially if you're using a black carbon blade, it should slide through the vinyl like a hot knife through butter. All right, then just seal your edges, and then essentially the same thing here. Again, I'm going to 45 and cut, just like that. Cut this away so you can see what it looks like. All right, just like that. So now, cut away, there's no pick edge there. You can even take maybe a little bit of sandpaper or something and file that down, or you can, if you need it, if you felt the pick edge, you basically would just shave it off with your knife like this. Okay, to whatever you're comfortable with. All right, so we'll continue on with applying the rest of the vinyl. And so now that I've shown you how to address the corner, I'm going to go ahead and work the left side corner there. I made my cut to make my 2 tabs, so now that the front side of the table has a full tab that's independent and loose, and then now on the left side of the table it has the tab that I can drop down over that once I get the front all laid down. As you saw before on the close-up, I was basically just using my finger with the wrap glove to roll the vinyl down onto the edge of the front of the front edge of the table there, roll the vinyl down, and then smooth it out, and then smooth it across the whole front. Trimmed off my corners there, and then now I'm just going to shave off the excess vinyl underneath the front edge there, and then cutting it in the way that I demonstrated so that you don't have a pick edge. After you cut it, you can check it to see if you do have any pick edges, and then shave it off accordingly. And then again on the side, I'm doing the same, effectively the same thing, doing that to both sides there, just cutting off the excess vinyls, making sure everything is smooth and down. The last thing I'll have to do is trim out the back side, and you'll see me doing that there. And that one I'm just going to cut straight along the back because that's towards the wall and no one's going to see that, so I'm not going to bother wrapping the back side edge of the table. And I'm just going to follow my knife side against the side edge of the table there. And for all intents and purposes, this is effectively done. What you'll want to do after this, particularly because it is a high gloss finish that can get micro scratches from your buffers, is use heat to go over it to help get rid of scratches. And the heat will also find any areas that have air pockets that have trapped that maybe you missed during the squeegeeing process. If you see those, simply press them out because this vinyl does have an air egress property to it. And guys, this is the final result. So you can see that it's fairly quick and easy to wrap at least a flat table in vinyl wrap. I do have another video wrapping this same table in a concrete looking vinyl wrap. If you want to see that, click the video showing up on the right side of your screen. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If it was helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button, guys. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.